Godfinity. Godfinity.
G number. G number.
Absolute supergod.
Alwayfinity.
God. Alway super God. Alway to God. Ultimate affinity. Absolute transparent.
Absolute ultimate alway flogged super.
Absolute pseudo function.
Perfinity. Masterfinity.
Infinite affinity. Infinite affinity plus one. Infinite affinity plus absolute infinity. Infinite affinity plus capital there. Infinite affinity plus absolute never. Infinite affinity plus infinity.
Infinity. Infinity plus one. Infinity plus infinity. Infinity plus absolute infinity. Infinity plus absolute never. Infinity plus godfinity. Infinity plus ultimate affinity. Infinity plus infinite affinity. Double infinity. Triple infinity. Quadruple infinity. Infinity square. Infinity cube. Infinity plex. Infinity duplex. Forcefinity. Forcefinity plus one. Forcefinity plus absolute infinity. Forcefinity plus absolute never. Forcefinity plus godfinity. Forcefinity plus infinity. Forcefinity times two. Forcefinity times three. Forcefinity square. Forcefinity cube. Forcefinity cubeplex. Forcefinity cube duplex.
Treefinity. Treefinity. Treefinity plus infinity. Treefinity plus absolute infinity. Treefinity plus absolute never. Treefinity plus godfinity. Treefinity plus infinite affinity. Treefinity plus forcefinity. Treefinity double. Treefinity square. Treefinity cube.
Absolute super Absolute super Absolute super infinity. Absolute super absolute infinity. Absolute super absolute never. Absolute super godfinity. Absolute super infinity. Absolute super forcefinity. Absolute super double. Absolute super square. Absolute super cube. Absolute super cube quick. Absolute super cube quick. Absolute ultimate infinity. Absolute ultimate infinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus one. Absolute ultimate infinity plus 10. Absolute ultimate infinity plus 100. Absolute ultimate infinity plus infinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus absolute infinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus absolute never. Absolute ultimate infinity plus godfinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus infinite affinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus infinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus absolute super duper. Absolute ultimate infinity double. Absolute ultimate infinity square. Absolute ultimate infinity cube. Absolute ultimate infinity double cubes. Absolute ultimate infinity super cubes.
Absolute crores square, absolute crores power, absolute fire, absolute crores cube,
Absolute crores double cubes. Absolute crores super cubes. Absolute infinity square. Absolute infinity power. Absolute higher. Absolute infinity power. Absolute floors. Absolute infinity power. Absolute floors power. Absolute higher. Absolute infinity square. Absolute infinity cube. Absolute infinity double cubes.
Absolute extreme. Absolute extreme square. Absolute extreme power, absolute power. Absolute extreme power, absolute crores. Absolute extreme power, absolute crores power, absolute power. Absolute extreme power, absolute infinity. Absolute extreme power, absolute infinity power, absolute power. Absolute extreme power, absolute infinity power, absolute crores. Absolute extreme power, absolute infinity power, absolute crores power, absolute power. Absolute extreme cube. Absolute extreme double cubes. Absolute extreme super cubes.
Quint power. Quint power, absolute power. Quint power, absolute crores. Quint power, absolute power. Quint power, absolute extreme. Super everything power, everything. Quint power cube. Quint power double cubes. Quint power super cubes.
Sex power, absolute power. Sex power, absolute crores. Sex power, absolute infinity. Sex power, absolute extreme. Sex power, quint power. Super duper everything power, everything. Sex cube. Sex double cubes. Sex super cubes.
Sept pyre power, absolute pyre. Sept power, absolute crores. Sept power, absolute infinity. Sept power, absolute extreme. Sept power, quint pyre. Sept power, sext pyre. Mega everything power, everything. Sept cube. Sept double cubes. Sept super cubes.
Alt power, absolute infinity. Alt power, absolute power. Alt power, absolute crores. Alt power, absolute infinity. Alt power, absolute extreme. Alt power, quint power. Alt power, sex power. Alt power, set power. Ultra everything power, everything. Alt power cube. Alt power double cubes. Alt power super cubes.
Extreme affinity power, absolute power. Extreme affinity power, absolute crores. Extreme affinity power, absolute infinity. Extreme affinity power, absolute extreme. Extreme affinity power, quint power. Absolute extreme affinity super duper. Extreme affinity power, sex power. Extreme affinity power, sept power. Extreme affinity power, warp power. Giga everything power, everything. Extreme affinity cube. Extreme affinity double cubes. Extreme affinity super cubes.
Absolute impossible.
Undeci pyre.
Oidisi yawer.
Trideci pyre. Quadreci pyre.
Quindeci pyre.
Sexteci power.
Septeci power.
Octodeci pyre.
Novadeci power.
Absolute double impossible.
Absolute triple impossible.
Absolute quadruple impossible.
Absolute quintuple impossible. Absolute sextuple impossible.
Absolute sextuple impossible. Absolute octuple impossible. Absolute quadruple impossible.
Absolute Illuminati.
Gigafinity. Terrafinity.
Petafinity.
Exactly. Zetafinity.
Yosafinity.
Rafinity.
Quintafinity.
Zetafinity.
Quintafinity.
Absolutely, pi is everything. Absolutely kills with everything. Absolutely kills with everything.
Absolutely cures ultra everything. Infinity pile. Omega pile.
Absolute infinity pyre.